Hello and welcome to my channel. What is the dark night of the soul? What happens to you during that time? Is there any symptoms to know that you are going through the process of fixing to go through the process of the dark night of the soul? I'm gonna share my journey as I went through the dark night of the soul and how I came about finding out that that's what it was. It started with a seminar I attended at church, and they picked me to give a talk. The talk was finding a new life in Christ. I put it all together and it came really good. And like I share in my other videos, Hector's my editor, so I gave it to him. He edited my talk and he asked me this question. He said, San Juanita, in your talk, you have made reference of a song, and I know you love that song, but do you really understand the meaning of that song? And I went, yes, I do. And he said, okay, and left it as that. That song is one of my favorite songs. It's by Hela, and the title of the song is El Alfarero. Hela came to our church one time to evangelize our church, and I fell in love with her. I fell in love with her testimony. I'm the type of person that I can read books, I can read the Bible, I can do my own research, I can watch videos, but there's nothing better than to learn that when I see others witness and sharing their journey, how you feel, okay, I'm not alone in this fight. Because sometimes when you're going through suffering, when you're going through something, you really think you're the only one. You see everybody living their lives and moving forward, and you're like, why it's just me, And when you get together and women or men or whoever's sharing how they overcome, you like, okay, she shared her journey and how this song was key to set her free, to become who she was at that, which is an evangelizer for the church. And I love to sing. I almost saw myself in her. I'm like, so I fell in love with that song, and I started singing that song everywhere. As I was washing dishes, I was just taking a shower, I would sing the song. So I decided, because of that song, how it's phrased, to include it in my talk. In the song, she talks, in the song, she's talking to God and describing God as the potter, and she's the clay. And she's asking him, begging him to be just like him. And then she describes in the song how God answers to her and said, okay, but I'm going to break you. And then I'm going to transform you into what you're asking for, right? And then he said, but in the process, I have notes here. He said, in the process, you're going to cry. Because through the fire, I'm going to make you go through so you can, be transformed. And then he asked, I want to smile when everything is going bad in your life. I want your praises instead of your complaints. I want you to trust me in the middle of the thunderstorm. And also, I want you to learn to forgive others, to forgive all the ones that have hurt you. Well, now I know what Hector meant when he asked, are you sure? What he was saying is like, be careful what you pray for, right? To me, that was the song, now looking back, that unleashed all this suffering back to back. And I didn't understand. God, I need a break, yes, I feel like I'm a strong woman. I know that quitting is not an option, but give me a little break, So I went to Google and looked for the meaning of the dark night of the soul. And it says it represents the hardship followed by pain the soul meets on the way to meet God. So it's painting to me a picture that like that song said, I was going through the fire as I was going through all the sufferings back to back. I was going through the fire just like gold and diamonds go through to become purify, you know? So what God did through that dark night of the soul with me is purify myself, my soul, to become one with him. And now I know why a lot of people might think that I'm crazy because I say so clear, oh, I sit in with God and God told me this is what happened. When I came to the other side, not only the connection when I pray is out of this world, the listening to his voice is clear as water. And through this process too, my trust and my belief that I'm not crazy. It's not my imagination. I'm not listening. It is him talking to me, guiding me, directing me, holding my hand through the process, right? So it's what I said, the dark night of the soul and the all the suffering. It started in 2009. I was desperate to heal my marriage. I always share with Hector this. Why we cannot be fully happy. Sorry. I know we have the potential to become an amazing marriage. A marriage that people are going to look up to and wonder, look, they've been together 30, 40 years. How do they do it, you know? But we can get like that other video, we can get past all this hurt, you know? So then 2010, I lost my twin babies. I was gonna have 2 babies. It was a surprise. We were not seeking more family, but I went my first checkup and I'm telling you, I was like shocked. Came and me and him of faith were like, a baby's always welcome no matter what time, what age or whatever. So then when I went to the first visit, or the visit that they tell you that the baby's okay and you can see the baby, they gave me the news that I was gonna have 2. But you can only imagine my drive back from the doctor home, and shocked. And me and Hector were like, well, you know, welcome them, you know. And right at the frame of like, it was 3 months and a half or something like that, when we were like over ourselves. We were so excited. That's when I lost them. We all know that God has a plan, that they're in a good place and all of that. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you it hurt. And bless Hector, because, well, I was lost for a little bit. And so he would come to me and said, remember, God says he would wipe all your tears. And you know what? I want to talk to you about naming our kids. Because I think, this is Hector talking to me, I think it's very important that we name our kids. So I said, name them. So, we named one Elena and one Marcos. Then I was sad for a while, very sad, very, very sad. And he came one day to me and said, San Juanita, it's been now, it was gonna be almost a year, I think. What's going on? Is there anything you want me to do? And I just keep shaking my head all this time. But that day I told him yes, and he said, "What is it? Tell me, I'll do it." And I'm like, "I want another baby." He said, "Okay." So we started trying to get pregnant, and then 2012 is when my baby Carmen came. The thing is, my family, my mom, could not understand that I went through the decision of getting pregnant again, because when I lost my twins, I had to have a DNC, and my doctor poked a hole in my uterus, and I almost lost my life, and so my mom couldn't understand how come I was gonna put my life at risk to have another baby. But it's almost like I knew that I was gonna be okay. And I'm telling you, that pregnancy was my best pregnancy of all my pregnancies. Okay, so then that happened. Then 2017, I already shared that my son was diagnosed with cancer. During that time, he had a surgery. He didn't have to have chemo. He didn't have to have radiation or anything. So praise God, we moved forward. But then the cancer came back. And this time, the oncologist told us that he was going to need chemotherapy. And I think that's the part that I share, that I walked with him step by step by step. And it was hard. And a miracle itself, because when we went to see the oncologist, he said, "I want you to guys mentally prepare yourself, because this is gonna be hard. I have here soldiers that go through the process of the chemo, and and then he turned around and he looked at my son and said, and you need to be strong, because cancer is all about how strong you are. Being weak, it's not gonna work. I want you to be strong. I want you to believe that this is gonna blah blah blah." So sure enough, I mean, we did everything like the doctor said. But I also took my son to one of my good friends from church, and I had her anoint him with oil, and she gave me water from Lourdes. And she said, "San Juanita, I want you to anoint Hector and bless him with this water every single time before chemotherapy." And that's what we did. He had 5 rounds of chemo with 21 days in between. And the doctor at the end was like, I don't understand. He never went through all the hard stuff that the doctor described it. I'm not gonna say that it was a breeze, but we were even shocked, like, oh, maybe this week is, or maybe this time. And then I answered him, I do. Never, I'm telling you, never underestimate the power of prayer, the power of you believe and trusting in God. So then that was 2019, I think. And then 2020, well, COVID. And then my spiritual mama left me. And it was like back to back. It was like I was barely recuperating. And then that hit me, and that hit me really hard. Really hard. Still, I miss her. Then 2023, that's a horrible year for me. I almost lost my marriage. And to this day, I give thanks to God for my second chance, or our second chance, for this love that we have for each other. I told Hector the other day that we are one of the lucky ones that have truly experienced true love. The commitment of overcoming anything to stay together. I look back now, and the thought of I could have lost the love of my life just devastates me. So during that time of all the suffering, back to back to back to back with no break, I did went to God. Like I told you in the other video, I go to God and ask why, and ask, give me a break, and ask, I don't know, like, favor on me, extend you grace and mercy, Lord. I get it. And he loves me. He loves me. He knows who I am. He knows what I think. He knows my heart. I can't hide from him, you know. And he, like Leah, that's the name of my friend. Sorry, used to say to me, San Juanita, never be ashamed to open your heart to God. That's exactly what he wants, to establish a deep relationship with you. And how do you establish a deep relationship with God, San Juanita? Just like you do with Hector and like you do with your sons, by spending time, by being you, by being real. So I did that. But I during that time, I felt lost. I felt alone. I felt confused. I lost all sense of direction. I started questioning my faith. I started questioning my husband. I started questioning everything around me. Almost like the foundation when I was standing was not a rock. Like I always thought it was sand, a quicksand, that is. You know, it was a horrible experience. But I think now I understand. A church closer to us, they put a women's conference, and I go. I always go to the women's conference, and I would see ladies, older ladies, witness to us and said, for example, cancer was the biggest blessing in my life because through that suffering, this, that, and the other, and now I can do, I didn't. It's almost like I didn't listen to the whole thing, and I got stuck with it. Cancer was a big blessing in my life. I was like, what? No. But now have gone through all this, I can now say that has been my biggest blessing in my life. Why? Because it's almost like when you, I don't know, because I'm not a soldier, but this is the vision that God gave me. It's almost like when a soldier enlisted with Army or Marines or whatever, and they go through boot camp, and then they come out ready to fight. That's what happened to me. All the suffering, all the enduring, all the never giving up, I have become resilient to anything that life throws me. Of course, I do pray for God protection over me and over all the ones I love. Of course, I don't want any battles, but I mean, now I have the mentality that that's life, and I'm teaching my boys that life is gonna throw you everything in the kitchen sink. So you have to be prepared. You have to be aware of what might come to your life. I felt that the dark night of the soul is where, and this is my humble opinion, is where we lose a lot of our Christians, because in that process, when it's dark, deep dark, and you are, because you've been going through back to back, exhausted, you tired of feeling tired, you are ready to throw the towel, is when almost you have, not almost, you have two choices. Either you can cling to God or stay in the dark and then lose yourself, and then with the years become bitter and resentment and hurt, and you know, you name it. Well, I chose him. I wear this bracelet. It's just a rubber bracelet with the scripture, Philippians 14:13. I can do all things through Christ that strengthened me. I got this bracelet in one of the birthday parties of one of my friends. And I know, we took presents, but she gave us this bracelet for attending the party. I wear it since then, and that's been years ago. The original broke, and then I bought me a bucket full of them in Amazon, and I have them in my shelf, and whenever this one is getting like a little old, I throw it away and then I get a new one. But when I got this bracelet, it was almost like God saying, San Juanita, you're doing it all wrong. The reason you are struggling, the reason you are tired is because you're relying on your own strength. Let me. And then by reading in the Bible and then listening to Joyce Meyer, it's true. It's when we are weak that he is strong for us, but sometimes we don't want to allow that. We want to do it ourselves. Well, you surrender and you said, you know what, Lord, I am tired, but there you go. Help me. I know you can be strong. I know you can help me, navigate this. And I know that you have a plan. That's another thing that I always have asked God. And not that, I don't know if it was my mentor, Leah or Joyce Meyer, where I heard that, ask him, okay, Lord, I'm going through this. What do you want me to learn from this? What do you want? Seek God in the moments. And if you remember the song, when he says, I want to smile when everything is going wrong. I want you praises instead of complaints. I want you to trust me in the middle of the thunderstorm, and forgive others. That's pretty much what happened to me. The fact that you surrender full control of it all and just said, okay, let your will be done in my life. I felt during that time that I almost could see myself, that I was sitting at the bottom of a dark hole, and the hole was so tall that I couldn't get out. That also became from, I now get visions, now I get dreams too. I always been into dreams. Hector makes fun of me because I always been into dreams. If I dream something, I have books here of the definitions of dream. What does it mean? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it does. Some have significant, and some, just regular dreams. But it's in the process of purification where things started happening to me, where I started listening, recognizing his voice clear as water, when I started seeing more than messages, when I started believing. I'm gonna brief it because he brought this image of the Lion King, the movie The Lion King, where they tell Simba, remember who you are. That's what happened at the end of the dark night of the soul to me. It's I remember when at the end I remember who I belong to. I remember all that he has given me. I remember that it's not my strength, but rely on his strength. I don't know what to tell you. It was key for me to surrender all, because at the middle of of the dark night of the soul, I was still trying to do. I was still trying to solve. I was like, okay, God, take it, and then next month I would take. Let me help you. No, give it all. This was really hard. Even my marriage, I said, if it's your will, take it. Take it. And when you do that, when you surrender that you think you're gonna lose, or when you surrender all, is when he shows up in a mighty, mighty way for you. Because he loves you. Because he cares about you. He doesn't want to harm you. God doesn't send cancer. I told my son that. Baby, there's questions I don't have answers for you. All I know, we serve a loving Father. If I give you everything, imagine him. He doesn't send bad stuff in your life. He protects you, or he walks with you. Well, this video was a little heavy, but I had to do it because it paints a picture of the why. In the other video, you coming out saying, oh, well, God told me, God told me, God told me, God told me. It was not easy. It's not a gift. It is a gift, but you have to work at it. I don't know. That's why my Leah used to say, never envy anybody, Samronita. It's good to you learn from other people, but never envy anybody, because you don't know what they had to go through to be where they are. And it's true. I love spending time with you. And like I said, just give me time to get more comfortable with you guys here in camera. Oh, because my will in this, the reason why I started doing my videos is, one, out of obedience, but two, because I love women. I love young ladies. I have a friend that has, they have a blended marriage. She has two, and her husband has one girl and two boys. Her girls are blossoming into this beautiful girls, and they're both different, I want to impact their lives if God allows it. I want to impact young ladies and women to learn to love our essence, to get to connect with the woman God created us to become. Like I told you on the other video, I used to feel I was not enough. I was la burra, which means the dummy. I was insecure. I was jealous. I was scared of my own shadow. And now, like after I posted those videos, I went myself and watched it, and I'm like, who are you? I could have done it. I could not have done it without God loving me the way that he does. The way that he loves you too. So if you're going through suffering, if you're going through anything, if you are feeling you're not enough, you're not loved, if you were rejected, whatever it is, endure that fight, baby. I am proof of that. I love you so much, and see you next time.